It's Thursday, May 3rd, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, the Town Council President and I discuss some important agenda items for tonight's meeting. The Cape Cod Young Professionals are looking for some big ideas, and the Cape Cod Commission redesignates the town Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone. Let's start with some news you can use. The school committee has hired new legal counsel for the Barnstable Public School District. Attorney Dylan Pauly was interviewed and then approved by the school committee at their meeting last night. Attorney Pauly from Madison, Wisconsin will move to Cape Cod with her family. Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon, who was shot and killed last month while trying to serve an arrest warrant in Marston's Mills, will be posthumously honored today by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Massachusetts Bay. Gannon had volunteered for 3 years with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Cape Cod and the Islands as a big brother to 12-year-old Riley. The statement says, always eager to interact with children he encountered on the job or at local events, Sergeant Gannon was the definition of a community-minded officer, setting an excellent example for Riley, who wants to follow in Sergeant Gannon's footsteps to become a police officer when he grows up. Yarmouth Police Chief Frank Fredrickson will accept the annual Big of the Year on Gannon's behalf, an honor that recognizes someone who has had a significant, positive, and lasting impact in the lives of children, according to a statement issued by the Boston-based youth organization. Gannon was a mentor in the program's Bigs in Blue program, which aims to connect youngsters with police officers in communities across the country. The award ceremony will take place at 5:45 p.m. tonight at the Sheraton Boston Hotel, 39 Dalton Street. The Town Council meets tonight, and President Eric Steinhilber gives an update on some important items on the agenda, including a visit by Joint Base Cape Cod. With me on the phone today is Eric Steinhilber. You are the Town Council President, and you have a lot on the agenda, but it looks like it's going to move a little quick. Some old business, some things that'll just be an okay. You've got a couple of other things that are interesting to residents here in Barnstable.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, tonight we'll, most of the items on the agenda, it's the beginning of, we've got through the capital budget process. We completed that at the last meeting. So this is the beginning of the operating budget for the town. So a number of these items, we will basically just be, we're not going to be discussing them tonight. We'll be referring them to public hearing and discussion at our next meeting, which is May 17th. So that will be, this is basically tonight is the start of the operating budget season, which we would anticipate finishing up the first meeting in June. So a couple other items that we have tonight, besides reading those items in, we have a Katuitt Bay dredge project, $1 million, and you're going to start seeing a lot of dredge projects in the coming coming years here. We've really got probably a 10-year backlog on dredging needs within the town, and not only does it open up our waterways for navigation and recreation, but more importantly, it really helps flush out our natural estuary systems, and you'll see a drop in nitrate levels in the water. So we really made this a priority. We're also bringing in some new sewer extension infrastructure in the next fiscal year. We're really kind of attacking the water quality, the infrastructure, and making a large investment in that going forward, which we're very happy about. So this is one of those projects that we're be kind of kicking off many dredge projects which will be coming forward.
Right, I know we spoke to Dan Santos, actually, Department of Public Works, and he was talking about some of the sewering projects. So doing this hand in hand with both the dredging and the sewering definitely will help the different issues that we have with nitrogen loads, as well as the quality of water and the life that lives in it.
Right, and there's a lot of things that kind of tie together with that. We have a issue with market rate housing in town. just, housing for regular folks that want to move into town. Maybe they're taking a job at Cape Cod Healthcare. We just do not have those types of apartments anywhere near where we need to be as a community. And there's certainly locations for it, but then you run into problems where, it's not zoned for the correct density for someone to come in and want to develop that type of a property. And that's really because there's no sewer at that spot.
Right.
So we want to try to address some areas in town where we can rezone for density, get that sewer infrastructure in, protect our estuaries. In some areas where we have some estuary protection put in because we don't have that infrastructure, we want to kind of bring in that new infrastructure, eliminate a lot of that nitrate loading, and, give us some opportunities where we can have some density and have some market rate housing opportunities develop, which is going to help our economy. At the same time, aggressively going after, the best water quality that we can have. So we're really happy to be bringing all these projects to the forefront in a really responsible way, along with the town manager and his staff. So it's this obviously these are fiscal 19 budgets. So you're starting to see them, but you're going to see them in the coming years, no doubt.
Right. Well, that's a perfect segue. There is some town manager business on the agenda this week.
There is. We're going to be taking up a contract extension for town manager Mark Ells. He's done an excellent job. His review, which was done a few months back, will bear that out. Council's extremely happy in his leadership and how he's reorganized town departments and the work that him and his staff have taken on, obviously under his leadership. Very, very happy with his management, and we look forward to continuing to work with him in the years ahead.
That's excellent. He stops by every Wednesday morning to talk to us. So one of the other ones that I saw on the agenda was the regulatory agreement with the Housing Assistance Corporation for a new little neighborhood off of Ridgewood.
Correct. That is I believe it's 8 units on Ridgewood, as you said, with the Housing Assistance Corporation, otherwise known as HAC. And folks that have been driving down Ridgewood for a number of years probably have seen, it's a little overgrown now, but there's been a foundation there for a building that a house that was never completed years ago, and it's just become an overgrown lot. So that would be the area where these proposed units would go. Obviously, housing is a huge need that we're trying to address, predominantly in the market rate housing, but obviously there's a need for affordable as well. And this is one of those proposals. So we'll take that up tonight and review the proposal and see if the council has questions or concerns, and we'll go from there.
Right. Now, that particular project has passed all of its other boards that it's had to gone through. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, the council, the last step there is for the council to approve any regulatory agreements, and we have certain areas in town that are under what's called a regulatory agreement map. The whole town is not under a regulatory agreement map, but certain sections are. Mostly in Hyannis, and what those do is really allow kind of a streamlined permitting process. You still have to go through all the steps. It doesn't skip any steps, but it's more of a one-on-one negotiation, with the town. So it does involve, the town council approval of a regulatory agreement, which is under our general ordinances, is technically approved by the town manager.
Right, and this is also within that growth incentive zone that was just reissued. Am I correct? I think that's
right on the edge of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Anything else you can report for town council? It should be a shorter meeting than the last two, I would imagine.
Yeah, because we won't be getting into discussion on all the budget items. There's a couple items that we have on the agenda. We do have an appointment taking up for licensing authority, and we also have a couple of housekeeping issues. One was DPW had seen some cost savings in their personnel budget for fiscal 18, which we're coming out of. So those funds are going to be moved so that they can go into some capital repairs and other items that were not budgeted for, but with this cost savings, those items can be addressed, which is always we always like to see things come in under budget and come in at a lower cost, and that tends to happen with most of our projects. We have a great team, so we do many times see cost savings coming back, and then we can reallocate those funds in a strategic way.
That's fantastic. Well, I wish you a short meeting.
And, ahead of some long ones coming up.
There was some long ones past and coming up. Obviously, May 17th will be the big one where a lot of these things that are read in tonight will have some discussion.
Right. The other item we have tonight, I should mention, we have a presentation from the Joint Base Cape Cod. We have some individuals coming in to talk about some of their projects and initiatives that they're working on. We generally have them in about this time every year. They go around to the various towns on the Cape and just update the boards, councils and the selectmen boards about the goings-on out at Joint Base Cape Cod. So we look forward to having them in as well.
Great. Well, I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Always looking for innovative ways to engage the community, CCYP is looking for your big idea. CEO Lauren Barker pitches the event to us. On the phone with me today is Lauren Barker from CCYP, and she's got some big ideas ready to happen on May 15th. Lauren, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you've got a really cool event designed to engage just about everyone out there who's got a big idea about what they want to see in their community. Tell us a little bit about how this event came about.
Sure. Well, the Big Ideas for Cape Cod event was really born out of an event format that we've seen in other parts of the country for generating innovative, creative ideas for a community's future. And Cape Cod Young Professionals really wanted to continue the engagement that we saw in the big community needs survey we did earlier this year by allowing people an option to really come forward and say, these are the needs for young people in our community, for the future of our community, regardless of what age or background you are. And here's my idea for how we should really make an impact in these areas. So the event is very proactive. It's very future focused. The goal is to generate ideas and bring the community together in the process.
So just about anybody could go to this event. It doesn't have to be a young professional at 25. They can be 45 or 50, just as long as they're bringing
Absolutely.
Big ideas.
That's exactly right. This is a community-focused event, so anyone and everyone is welcome. We want to hear ideas, but also we need audience members. So we just invite the community to come out and be a part of it.
So inviting the community, how about town officials? Are they welcome to come in, listen to these ideas, and maybe do some follow-up afterwards?
Always. We always want the investment and the participation of our town officials, decision makers, so local government, of course, also our local business owners and proprietors. I think it's very important to get engagement from all levels of the community, but particularly to have people in the room who could take some of these ideas and work with the people who are pitching to make them a reality. So we hope that this will really serve as a way to breed new ideas and then move those forward.
Let's talk a little bit about the pitch itself. It's kind of like Shark Tank?
2 minutes. You have 2 minutes. Yeah, so it's pretty quick and to the point, and using that time wisely is going to be key to get the point across. Yeah. So, ideas only, so no business pitches, no sales pitches allowed.
Right. So you did this survey of community needs recently, and you had a top 3, but you're intentionally, you can talk about those top 3, but intentionally sure. This Big Ideas is kept open. So give me the top 3 that came out of the community needs survey.
So our first annual community needs survey was in January, and we heard from both CCYP members, non-members, people from all ages and all backgrounds in the community. But really, we're headed we're intending to get more of a pulse on the needs of those 45 and under that we serve directly. Of course, CCYP indirectly serves the whole community, because when we address the needs of our young people, what we're really doing is addressing the needs for the future of the community. So although we work directly with those 45 and under, the impact is much larger than that. And that's our intention moving forward with any of these areas. The three top areas of need that were identified through that survey were housing, of course, is the one that is on everybody's minds. That was on the list. Also child care, though, which is one that you haven't heard as much about, especially from CCYP, but it's a key issue when we're talking about work-life possibilities for young people on the Cape. And then jobs and economic opportunity was the third. So those three were on our minds when we were drafting up the plan for this event, but we intentionally kept the event format open to any topic so that we could really get that ideas generation going and bring people to the table regardless of whether they want to pitch an idea on one of those three subjects or if they want to bring something else to the table that maybe we haven't thought about or heard about yet.
That's fantastic. I think this an event like this will bring out, again, what you're looking for, big ideas. Tell people how they can get signed up for the event.
Sure. So if you go to our website, capecodyoungprofessionals.org, there's a really convenient banner right along the top of the homepage. You just click on that, and on that page is a link to both the application to sign up to pitch and the registration for the event. The event is free, so it's free to anyone, whether you're pitching or attending as an audience member, but we do ask that you register ahead of time to allow us an idea of who's going to be coming. Great. And how many really is the key there.
Right.
We're seeing good response so far.
That's fantastic. So you're getting audience is really important. So you know, be sure to sign up there, and then to pitch, you absolutely need to register.
Exactly. You have to submit the pitch application if you want to actually pitch. We won't be sourcing those from the audience on the night of. It's all arranged ahead of time, but it's not a long application. It's very simple. So just give the details of your pitch in there. And the audience is important because the audience favorite of the night by applause will actually be awarded a $250 cash prize. So the audience will be key in this event.
That's great. And the time of the event is?
5:30 to 7:30 on the 15th.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lauren, for obviously spearheading something like this. I think, you know, when you bring a community together and they start to share ideas, the engagement and the follow-through of those ideas always happens.
Yeah. Thank you, Paula. Thanks so much for the opportunity. We're excited.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Originally approved and designated by the Commission in 2006, the Downtown Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone encourages targeted growth by raising development density standards and allowing for mixed-use zoning incentives. Elizabeth Jenkins, Director of Planning and Development, joined us in studio to discuss the benefits. With me in studio today, Elizabeth Jenkins, Director of Planning and Development here at the Town of Barnstable, recently approved the GIZ from the Cape Cod Commission. We are ready to go. It's perpetual now.
Correct, yeah. So a number of good things happened last week. The redesignation of the Downtown Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone, which I've been here on Channel 18 to talk to you guys about a number of times, was approved by the Cape Cod Commission. So, and it was actually approved under new regulations that the Commission passed, allowing our designation to, yes, be perpetual. We had always kind of struggled with the timeline, the idea that a plan like that that was really intended for the revitalization of downtown Hyannis, and the work that went into it, the duration of that was only 10 years. If we're going to work on the revitalization of a downtown, a great place like Hyannis, that work essentially never stops. It's something we're going to have to keep doing as a community. So I think with the adoption of this new plan, Downtown Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone, the designation and the associated strategic plan, what we're really doing is recognizing that the process of community planning and downtown revitalization is one that's ongoing and additive and iterative, and really needs the support of both the community and the town going forward.
Right. Remind our residents what actually a growth incentive zone is.
Sure. So this is an incentive provided by the Cape Cod Commission to essentially streamline permitting within a certain area to encourage growth and development to be directed into that place. So under the growth incentive zone designation, reviews of large developments that would normally get reviewed by the Cape Cod Commission are waived within the zone. And this is, it sends a message to developers who are looking to make investments in our community that this is a place where we welcome growth and development in a thoughtful way, right. Consistent with our historic development patterns, and are willing to streamline that process to make that happen. And that we're also confident that we have the infrastructure that's adequate there to accommodate that thoughtful density. The idea that our downtown is walkable and served by transit and served by a number of great community organizations that all contribute to really building a community. All of those things are present in downtown Hyannis, and that's why we qualified for this special designation.
Right. And coming back to your own department now with planning and development, having some of those restrictions either loosened or removed in this redesignation, how does that help your department now kind of look at the future 10, 20 years down the road?
So it's really refocusing on what we're doing. So we were doing a lot of kind of technical reporting back to the commission on the GIZ, and we're still going to be measuring things, certainly progress within the growth incentive zone, but now we feel like we're measuring what's really important to our community. So instead of measuring development square footage thresholds and our progress or lack of progress towards them, now we're measuring things like how walkable is our downtown, how strong is our economy, how clean is our water. So there'll still be plenty of measuring and reporting to do, but we feel like it'll be data that will allow us to make more thoughtful planning decisions going forward. So we're actually really looking forward to continuing to build out those measures and then work on implementation of the strategic planning items that are in the document.
And there's also been some easing of some of the restrictions, i.e. trade-offs that you'd had in the past. So does that help the planning department as well? Yeah,
so just for clarification, the thresholds, the development of regional impact thresholds that were under the old application, the application that we originally submitted in 2006, and the ones that are waived in our new application are the same. So there are no sort of restrictions there. I don't want any folks who have been following along to get confused. Those did carry over, as well as the limits of the boundary, but what is lifted are those reporting requirements, and those are replaced again by progress towards meeting our community goals, revitalization efforts. So we're looking forward to starting to think about how we're going to implement our downtown Hyannis parking study, for example. That was one of our kind of primary action items in the growth incentive zone, and something that we were looking forward to working on anyway. So we look forward to talking to you about that more in the future.
Excellent. Well, you've kind of like now shifted. It's approved. So now focus of the department goes on to bigger and better things?
I wouldn't say bigger and better, but what's next, exactly. Right. So now, all about, again, implementation through, again, being thoughtful about what we measure and, how are we going to start to achieve the goals of our growth incentive zone. And again, I think if you look at kind of what we had in place, certainly now that we have this done, it gives us the capacity to move on to new planning initiatives and to kind of refocus on the parking implementation plan that I think as we talk to stakeholders through that growth incentive zone process, we realized was so important to kind of the businesses, the economy, and the visitor experience, really to everybody in downtown. So.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Good to talk to you.
And here's some community calendar news. Another fabulous free Art Week event on Friday, May 4th. Cape Symphony will be rehearsing for the American Mavericks concert, which will be performed May 5th and 6th, featuring music of Leonard Bernstein, John Adams, and Philip Glass. Join them for this rare open rehearsal. You'll get a glimpse behind the scenes into how an orchestra rehearses and hear from artistic director and conductor Jung Ho Pak about how he prepares for a concert like this. Everyone who attends will be automatically entered in for a raffle, 2 tickets to a future concert of their choice. RSVP is required. www.capesymphony.org. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow for an update from Sandy Neck Beach Park. All you need to know about beach parking permits from Barnstable Recreation, and we visit Osterville Library. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.